You're listening to episode 1001 of the Father Bills Podcast. Welcome back, and this is one more episode more than 1,000. Ooh boy, huh? So I'm working on decisions about what music to use going forward. I can go back to what I've done before. I'm kind of like this introduction music right now, so I'll probably work with that for a bit. And if it works out well, keep going. Otherwise, swap back. In the meantime, this is the homily offered by Father Dominic Sternhagen, and it's entitled, How We Made a Mess of Our Temple, given on the Feast of the Dedication to the Lateran Basilica in Rome, 2025.
We're going to start out this homily with a little activity. And for this activity, I want you all to imagine Jesus. You can use whatever picture you want, whatever your favorite image is, or maybe an image of Jesus from some movie or TV series, or just the Jesus that you conjure in your mind when you think of Jesus, when you pray. And then I want you to imagine that Jesus flicking through social media, distracted, half listening to you, cutting you off in traffic, or yelling inside of his car at the people around him in traffic, complaining about you behind your back. I think you'll find that it doesn't work. We can't imagine Jesus doing those things. There's something fundamentally incompatible with that. And yet we do those things. As Christians, we're supposed to be the face of Jesus to the world. When people see us, they're supposed to see Jesus. And sometimes they don't. Sometimes they see something different. But we want to be like Jesus. We want to be the way that he is. So we might say to ourselves, well, maybe I'll go to the scriptures and see what did Jesus do in the scriptures, and I'll do that. So we read the scriptures today and we find Jesus throwing out all the money changers from the temple. So we might say, well, I need to come to Holy Trinity and get all that AV equipment and say, Erica, get these things out of here. Stop turning my Father's house into a studio. Now, I don't think that's what we're supposed to take from this gospel. I don't think that's how we're supposed to follow Jesus. So how can we be more like Jesus? Well, there's a second reading from St. Paul today, and in that second reading, because it's the feast of St. John Lateran, all of these readings are talking about the temple, and in that reading, St. Paul says, Brothers and sisters, do you not know that you are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwells in you? You are the temple of God. Each one of us is called to be a temple of God, a dwelling place of the Spirit. Each one of us is called to be the source of living water. We have this beautiful image in the first reading from Ezekiel of the temple with this living water flowing out of it, flowing into the desert, bringing life everywhere that it goes. And so maybe we can understand the gospel that we have today in a different way. Maybe Jesus is trying to help us to clean out our temple. Maybe inside of our temple, there are a bunch of money changers that have set up stalls. Not like money changers in the old temple, but maybe money changers that come into our heart and take our time and our attention and our love and change it into distraction and anger and fear. All those money changers that are the TV channels, the apps, the devices that we use. And maybe these money changers have brought into our hearts and into our souls a bunch of animals. And they've turned the place into a kind of a menagerie where there's all these cows and chickens and pigs making the place a mess. I grew up on a farm taking care of cows and chickens and pigs, and I can tell you they do make a mess. That was our job, was mucking out the stalls. That was not very nice. And maybe that's what's happening inside of our own hearts, right? Maybe all of these distractions, all of these fears, all of these things have come into our life and are taking over our lives. And maybe Jesus wants to help us to clean out our hearts. So to think about that, I have a second activity for you. It's kind of a funny thought. I thought about it a long time ago, and this is not to lead anyone to pride, and you'll see why. But the activity is, you're all good Catholics. You've seen those little holy cards that we have, right? See the holy cards out. They're holy cards of a saint. You know, it's the saint's beautiful face. Then on the back, you have a little description. What would a holy card of you look like? What would a holy card of Saint Dominic of Beaverton look like? The funny thing is that I know what it would look like. And the funny thing is, I know what it would say on the back. I know what it would say that St. Dominic of Beaverton did. St. Dominic of Beaverton didn't cut anyone off in traffic. St. Dominic of Beaverton was attentive when people were talking to him. St. Dominic of Beaverton was loving and kind even when he didn't feel like it. Right? And each one of you can do that. We can all do that. We can think, well, what would I do if I was the best version of myself? What would I do if I was the person who I know I could be, who I want to be, and who I'm not? And so that's what that activity is. It's just thinking about that. It's useful to have that image, because then we can get an idea of what the things are that we need to clear out of our lives. And we can't do it on our own. We need Jesus to come in, and we need him to drive out of our temple all of these money changers, all of these animals, all these things that are making the place a mess, filling it up with the stuff that comes from animals, so that when we come in contact with people, that's what comes out of our heart. Not nice, clean, pure water, something else. We need Christ's help to clean out this temple of our hearts. And we might think of some of those money changers that have set up shop. People come to me and they say, well, Father, you know, I can't open social media. Every time I open social media, I'm filled with anger and anxiety and fear. And I'm like, well, stop opening social media. Every time I turn on the TV, Father, it's just, well, stop turning on the TV. Don't do it. Do something else. Do something that's going to fill your heart with peace. It's not don't be involved in your community or don't care about people, but don't turn on sources of anxiety, fear, distraction. Don't let that into your life. Jesus wants to come into your heart, and he wants to cast those money changers out. Let him cast them out. Help him to cast them out. Because if you allow him to come in and clean all those things out of your heart, then his pure, beautiful, clean water can come into your hearts, and it can fill them with light and peace, so that all those people who you come in contact with might receive that best version of yourself, might receive that holy card version of yourself, might receive the presence of God living in your temple.
Thank you again for listening to this episode of the Father Bill's podcast. If you have any comments or questions specifically about the music, if you like this type of music, if it fits, give me some thoughts. Go to my website, fatherbill.org, FRBILL.org. There you can email me right from the website. My email itself is fatherbill@fatherbill.org. Pretty creative, huh? And I will do my best to get back to you, but I'm really looking forward to some thoughts and comments. I'll be placing this, of course, as I always do, on social media, and I'll be looking there for your comments as well. In the meantime, may God bless you and have a great week. Bye-bye.